I think this was Bryce's best performance of the year. Fully believe that.
That is just psychotic.
Fully believe that.
That is psychotic.
He looked confident, he looked sharp, and when push came to shove, he still got the job done.
He was not the reason you won that game.
That's just simply not
Jordan
true.
Marshall again.
That's
it was that running back
true. Bryce Underwood could cure cancer, and you would still find a way to deflect from him. This is the Rivalry Podcast, and no, my voice doesn't normally sound this way. It's hard to tell possibly whether it's like a little infection thing that's gone through my wife and my kids, or if it was just Semaj Morgan muffing another punt.
It was Semaj Morgan muffing another punt.
I think no one was there to see it. Nobody knows why my voice sounds this way. Ignore it. Like Michigan, we'll face adversity, we'll push on through and come out with a win
Where's
somehow.
your blue collar jacket at?
I left it at home, unfortunately.
Well,
We're not doing that
not
today.
very blue collar like of you.
This is the Rivalry. My name is Jace. That's Mr. JP. Michigan and Ohio State, the greatest rivalry in all of sports, from River Radio Ministries and presented by our friends at Elevated Integrity Construction. Wherever you're listening right now, go ahead and subscribe. Be sure to rate and review and follow on social media at RivalPod.
Yeah, and we usually start the show with a little thing called Wheel Route. I want to say thanks to the Ohio Sinus Institute for sponsoring this part of the show. Now, brand new to the podcast. Very excited to have them on board. I thought it would be interesting because this has been kind of a dialogue that's come up numerous times throughout the season. And when it started at the very beginning of the season, I didn't really think too much about it because it was just really early. But now, I mean, you got 2 weeks left in the regular season. And this has been a topic that's routinely, I feel like, brought up every single week, especially in the Ohio State side of things. Is this Ohio State team, the 2025 version, a better team than the 2024 Ohio State football team? Now, I think right off the bat, you can throw out the argument of like, it's still too early, right? Because last year's Ohio State team, I think, really peaked when they got to the playoffs. And I think that's when you really saw all that potential kind of collide and really start to mesh. This team obviously has played much less games right now than that team.
Yeah.
And so you're going just off the body of work. If you're looking at last year's team, that team already had a loss going into this week last season. This team's still undefeated. We're going to find out a whole lot about what this team is made of.
Yeah, about 10 days.
In about 10 days. Not that we're counting or anything. But just as it stands, from an eye test point of view, having seen last year's team, seeing that talent, grading each position group, is that team a better team, or is this year's team the better team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to cop out on this answer, but I genuinely wrote down, I think it's impossible to tell. We'll find out next week. Like, I would say at this point, if you're saying if you would really push on it and say, okay, but give me an answer like as it stands right now, I'd say no. Like, I don't think it's a better team than last year.
What gives you what's the biggest standout to you?
I think the biggest thing to me, and don't hear me saying something that I'm not saying, this is a very good football team, but I think that it's fair to say that Ohio State just hasn't been tested yet. I don't. They've played, and again, there's a difference between you can still be a very good team and still be very untested. Ohio State has played one currently ranked team right now. That was Texas, which just got boat raced by Georgia. And so that doesn't mean that Ohio State's not a good team, but it means that if I'm looking at last year's team, and you're correct, they peaked in the playoff. They did get a big win against a top Penn State team last year on the road. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they went on the playoff run, the Oregon game in particular being very impressive. I think it's hard to look at that body of work and then look at this team and go, well, you beat a ranked team at home, and that's the only key win that they've had this year. I think it's hard for me, at least as a Michigan guy, to look at that and go, well, we can definitively say that this year's team is better. I think they're very good, but I also would look at it and go, they haven't really been put through the fire yet. And that's why we'll find out here in about a week's time.
I can see that argument, but I would disagree. I think this is one of those things where you look at this team, and even prior to the season, this was a team you thought was going to lose 3 or 4 games, and you were looking looking at their schedule and going, well, this is a tough game and this is a tough game. They can't help how other teams panned out. And I think, and not that that's a cop out. I'm mostly talking about like a Texas who is obviously still ranked, but just lost to a good Georgia team. You're looking at a Penn State who has just collapsed. You're looking at Washington, who had a weird loss against Wisconsin that I don't think anybody, even Wisconsin fans, thought would happen. You're looking at an Illinois that was a top-ranked team that now is exactly who we thought they were.
And I'm not saying that based on like, all you can do, we agree on this part. Like, all you can do is play who's on your schedule. Well, you can't determine which teams are going to be good which years. I'm just saying that there's not enough body of work against top teams for me to look at this and go, well, that win against 8-3 Texas or 7-3 Texas at home by a touchdown, that means that they're a better team this year. I just don't think you can tell.
But here's my argument for that, because typically I really would probably side with you on that. Here's where I think the difference for me is. And I think I kind of brought it up last week when we were talking about how Ohio State hasn't really had to face some adversity yet this season.
Sure,
you had the Texas game that I think was, without a doubt, probably the toughest, closest game. I mean, it obviously was the closest game. But you're looking at this team, and you look across college football. Look at this past weekend. Look at last weekend. Texas A&M, a great example this last week. Indiana the week before.
Yep.
Even these elite level teams that everybody's talking about as these undefeated, these are the championship caliber teams, had some scaries against some teams that they shouldn't have had some scaries against.
I don't disagree.
And so
with
I'm
that.
looking at this Ohio State team, and you might look at their schedule and go, well, Penn State didn't pan out how we thought. Illinois didn't pan out how we thought. Texas and Washington didn't pan out how we thought. But they've boat raced every one of those teams outside of Texas. And I think, and as we get ready to break down Ohio State further, when we talk UCLA and Rutgers, I'll speak a little bit more on this. But it feels like every single season, these elite level teams that we talk about, I would even say Alabama. I talked Alabama up for a while, and then they just went out there and lost this past weekend.
Yeah, that gets real interesting, by the way, coming down to the Iron Bowl.
But you look at these teams, and even the best teams have these dud games against teams. I would say Northwestern Michigan this past weekend was one. Purdue Michigan was one.
Purdue Michigan, yes. Northwestern, no, because we not quite in that way, but we predicted that. But was
I'm just saying, my point still stands. I think that
every team has thrown
challenge.
out and I would say that is one area that I would agree with you on, is that Ohio State has not played with their food yet. Maybe like in a substantial way, right? So like the Ohio game for a bit there, they did.
I don't think watching that.
But I don't think it was a substantial. It wasn't playing with your food the way Michigan played with Purdue.
No, and I think
or A&M in South Carolina.
It's like how you've described it. There are times where you watch a game and it's, this is annoying, to I'm in danger. Ohio State has had a few, this is annoying because we should be destroying this team. We've clearly been outplaying them, but never once. There's not been a game this season other than Texas, which was week 1, which is almost a forgivable kind of game because it's Julian Sain's first start. It's week 1, so there's always a little bit of that. I'm looking at this team, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm sold that they're a better team than last year, but I think they're a more well-rounded team, at least defensively. I think defensively last season they had some guys, obviously. I mean, you had the Jack Sawyer, the JTT, you had Denzel Burke, Lathan Ransom, one of my favorite Buckeyes of all time.
Hey, mine too.
I wonder why.
Mine too.
And so I look at these guys and I go, okay, when this year we still have Caleb Downs. Arvell Reese has been just an absolute stud of a player.
Really, really good.
The defensive line has impressed me. I was a huge fan of Caden Curry last season, and he's really stepped into his own. Caden McDonald has been good. Sonny Styles has stepped into his role. Some of these younger guys, Jermaine Matthews, Davison Igbinosun now stepping into a more leadership role. They've all played a great part. Where I think it gets a little bit dicey for me is the running back room. To me, last year's team leaps and bounds. I mean, it's just not even close. I think that's the biggest difference. Of every single position group between last year's team and this year's team is the biggest advantage for the Buckeyes. The receiver room, I know people have questioned, is last year's better? I mean, you had Ibuka, you still had Carnell Tate. This year feels better, which is weird to say. And I think it's because it feels a lot more like they're taking the deep shot that I think Buckeye fans have wanted for a long time.
Well, they've in recent weeks, and again, forgive my voice, but in recent weeks, like they've opened up the playbook quite a bit. And I mean, listen, the question is not, is Ohio State good? Yes.
Yeah.
The question isn't even, and I'll say this as the Michigan guy, the question isn't even, is Ohio State the number 1 team in the country? Yeah. Like, and I had questioned a couple weeks ago, I felt like A&M actually might have been a better team than Ohio State, Indiana. That clearly has been proved. And again, credit A&M for making the comeback, but you should never have been in that position.
No, not at all.
And so, like, the question isn't, is Ohio State good? It's who's better last year, this. I genuinely with you. I think we can at least agree on this. We will not have any definitive evidence until Ann Arbor.
I think my initial gut says this year feels slightly better, but they're going to have to prove it just like last year's. Last year, I think on paper had a really, really talented team, but I think right now I'm probably putting Sayin over Will Howard, which says a lot because I respect Will Howard a ton. I think I give the running back room edge to last year. I think I give the wide receiver room an edge this year. Tight end room, I think I give it to this year. I think when you look at the O-line, it's this year. Defensively, I think across the board, it's probably this season. A couple of weeks ago, I compared Caden McDonald and Caden Curry to JTT and Jack Sawyer through, I think, 7 games, and they had outperformed those guys.
Well, that's because JTT only showed up against Penn State.
Penn State. That's why. But, and also in the playoffs, though. I mean, in the playoffs is where they really started to kind of become a destructive force.
The beautiful thing about all this, dude, is that none of this matters when they play Michigan.
Oh, throw it all out the window. I could talk trash.
Like, again, like, this is why, and then let's actually talk about Ohio State's game this week. This is why people hate Ohio State fans. is you've got these people that, so yeah, we'll get to Michigan here in a second, but just a little case in point here for the sake of the rivalry, in case everyone's like, why are Michigan fans are watching going, stop talking about Ohio State. Well, trust me, I get it. You know, so Bryce has just an absolutely incredible first half. Not a word from social media. He throws a pick or two, and all of a sudden it's, oh, look at the freshman that they brought in. His butt is terrible. And I go, well, that was just you also. And I'm like, this is why people hate this. And then there's no way Ryan Day loses to these guys this year. I'm like, did we not watch?
I would like to go on record and say I've said Bryce Underwood's been butt for weeks now, so I don't even wait.
Which again is a problem. But yeah, I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out. But for the UCLA game, I mean, the second that they said, hey, Nico is in concussion protocol.
Can we talk about that for just a brief second?
The game was over before it started.
Because first off, there are so many question marks. Let's just call a spade a spade. He ducked coming to Ohio State and playing.
You've got to stop.
He ducked him.
You've got to stop.
There's no way that they just found out that he had a concussion after going through.
Just find out.
Why are they flying a man with a concussion?
Because he's their starting quarterback.
He had a concussion. You're not supposed to be on a plane that high up with your.
Oh, so this is a player safety issue for you?
No, not at all.
You in the Big Ten.
They did the right thing in player safety by not allowing him to get his helmet cracked again like he did against Ohio State last season.
Nobody is ducking you.
He absolutely ducked them. There is no way that coaching staff, if they didn't know that he had a concussion until Saturday morning,
they knew they weren't going to tell everybody about it. How is this hard to figure out?
They weren't going to win with him.
When you have a significant injury like that, what do you want the coach to do? Go, yeah, there's no way, by the way, that our quarterback's going to play, so Ohio State, plan for the backup.
You still could have released that like Friday night.
That's the most arrogant fan base.
No, you could have released it like Friday or Saturday, flying that man across, and then he's on the sidelines in like a winter coat when it was 64 degrees in Columbus. Get out of here. It wouldn't have mattered anyways. Ohio State.
To be clear, it would not have mattered.
It would not have mattered. Ohio State just absolutely steamrolled them 48-10. This was, I mean, what Ohio State seems to have done all season. You kind of wait for that game. And to be honest, had Nico played, it felt like there was potential for this kind of a game where you have like a Nebraska last season where you're the clearly better team, but you just for whatever reason don't show it.
Well, because Nico's a good player.
Well, he was their only good player.
Well, and that's the main problem, right? It's like, hey, leading passing, obviously Nico. Leading rushing, also Nico. Leading punter, probably also Nico.
Well, and to be honest, prior to the game, I mean, you didn't have Carnell Tate last week against Purdue. It was said that he was going to be out again this week against UCLA, or this past week against UCLA. Yeah. Jeremiah Smith, leading up to the game, was questionable. And so I'm looking at that, and I know how explosive Ohio State's offense has been, but I go, okay, well, run game that hasn't been as dynamite as last season. Still some explosive players, but not as dynamite. And now you're losing your two best receivers potentially for that game. You're going to have to rely on Mylan Graham. You're going to have to rely on Brandon Ennis, who are talented guys, but just haven't proven anything yet.
Yeah, I thought they are just guys.
This offense is going to look different. They're still going to win, but I expected if Nico plays for it to be a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And it just didn't matter.
No.
Jeremiah Smith played barely. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what that kind of looks like. Carnell Tate didn't play. Julian Sayin didn't really have to do anything. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have a bad game. He was just he was there.
And that's all you had against UCLA. That's all you had.
You didn't need it. You were up 27-0 at half.
We said this last week leading into the preview. So if you haven't subscribed, you missed an episode, be sure to subscribe, go back. By the way, it doesn't like sign you up for an email list or anything. It just like helps us. So please do hit subscribe. But like we said, for like a couple of weeks there, I think we all got fooled. And again, apologies for my voice, but I think we all got fooled into thinking UCLA might actually be okay. And then they are absolutely not okay.
They reminded us.
You know, so like when they beat Penn State, everyone went, oh my goodness. And then they beat Michigan State. We went, oh, wow. And then they've come back down to earth. And so this is exactly the game that you should have expected. There was absolutely no shot for UCLA to win this game.
No, there were some impressive things for Ohio State. Stuff you obviously can't read into it too much. The run game, Bo Jackson, 15 carries, 112 yards. Isaiah West had a phenomenal game. James People had a great game. They had 220 plus rushing yards on the game. UCLA didn't have a good rush defense. They were like second to last in the Big Ten. And so you kind of expected that they would have some success on the ground. Julian Sayin, efficient. He was 23 of 31, $184 and a touchdown. He didn't have to really do too much. And so he didn't. The notable stuff for me, OSU outgained UCLA 440 yards to 222.
Is that good?
I would say so. They also only punted once again the entire time they were on the field. They did have a turnover on downs. So I guess, sure, they had another possession. They came up empty. But basically, if Ohio State offense had the ball, even when they put Lincoln Keenholz in, they scored, which goes to show just how bad UCLA is. Because how do you let a Lincoln drive down the field and score? Do you remember
like when Ryan Day did the whole quarterback competition thing? And
he does it every year.
But people like that should know better bought it. Like in this, like, so we record in Columbus, unfortunately. And like people in Columbus, media people in Columbus who do great work, by the way, like they bought it. And I fairly certain you and I sat here and said, no.
Well, they did the same thing last year with Will Howard, where they brought Will Howard in and they were like, it's a competition between him and Devin Brown. Well, and it's like,
people kept saying like
Devin Brown play football, not once, but like 3 or 4 times up to then.
It's delightful.
He couldn't even win the starting job at Cal. So let's stop. Let's stop.
So what does any of this mean for Rutgers this week?
I actually think it's going to be kind of the same game plan. Where I think it gets interesting for me, and I don't have an update. We obviously record this on Monday after the game against UCLA. Ryan Day did give some kind of news and updates on stuff. So Carnell Tate, he said just a precautionary thing. They sat him last week against Purdue, sat him again against UCLA. Would not surprise me whatsoever to see him sit against Rutgers. I'm almost expecting it at this point because you've got a certain team coming up that you need him healthy for.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith was questionable to start the game. He played for the first half, didn't play the rest of the half. He was really kind of ineffective, walking with a noticeable limp on the field throughout. Ryan Day said, calm down, not a concern, clearly a precaution. He's got a nagging issue right now that we've just been kind of dealing with. We're up 27-0. We don't really need to. He said that without saying it. So I think Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate will both be fine. I don't think this is anything to get overly concerned with. But it wouldn't surprise me if neither of them played this coming week against Rutgers. I know we record on Monday. Ryan Day may come out and say, they're both good to go. We're going to go unleash the horses and everything, and then it's fine. I don't expect that. I think this is a game that they're going to run out the exact same game plan because this
is a game is exactly the preview that I want for Ohio State Rutgers. Well, technically, this is a football game.
It is technically a game, but the game plan is going to be the same because if I'm being honest, the defense is going to look the same. UCLA's defense can't stop the run. Guess who's even worse at stopping the run? The Scarlet Knights.
Which, by the way, like you need to, if you're new to the podcast, because we've got a bunch of new people, you need to explain, I think, a little bit for folks. The Rutgers, I don't care why you're a Rutgers fan also, but I think you do need to make that connection here
sure.
to explain the stupid Rutgers helmet on YouTube, this stupid helmet, that stupid jersey, the Mike Rutgers jersey.
Yeah, I grew up obviously a Buckeye fan, Buckeyes through and through since birth. I mean, you're born into it here in Ohio, so they're number one forever. Rutgers, I've been a fan of for probably since I was a freshman in high school, so I'm going to show my age here, but it's like got to be 20 plus years now.
You're 47?
Yeah.
Wow.
47. So, I mean, you're so dumb, but I've been a fan for a while now. Back when they were in the Big East, had Ray Rice, had Mike Teal, had Taekwon Underwood, Mohamed Sanu, like just a bunch of guys that I fell in love with watching. Loved watching them play in the Big East in their rival games against West Virginia. So I followed them ever since. They joined the Big Ten and have not been competitive really since. They had 1 or 2 good years right away and then have been just kind of middle of the pack.
They've still got a soft spot in your heart, though.
Oh, love them.
So, like, when this game happens, obviously you're pulling for the Buckeyes.
Oh,
like,
every time.
Is there a part of you that kind of wants Rutgers to upset them?
No. It is.
Could there be?
Not to upset them, no, because Ohio State's still number 1. So Ohio State losing ruins my Saturday regardless.
Love that.
So as excited as I was when Rutgers joined the Big Ten, there was a part of me that died that day because I knew even if Rutgers
have that conflict.
If Rutgers has a really good season, Ohio State's got to spoil it. Yeah. And if Ohio State's got a really good season like they are this year, I'm sorry, Rutgers, I need you to get dominated into the ground.
What's really funny, just as a tangent here. So like I grew up college hockey was one of like my big entry points into sports, college hockey and college football. And this would have been if you're really a Michigan or Ohio State fan, back in the old CCHA days where it was Michigan and Ohio State and Notre Dame. So Lake Superior State University is where I grew up in that little small town. And so like I actually hated Michigan hockey for a long time. Even as a Michigan football guy, because they played Lake State 4 times a year. And that is still the only, I love Michigan hockey now. That's still the only time that I would ever actually root for a team to beat Michigan still. Is I would actually cheer for my hometown boys to beat Michigan hockey if they played each other. It doesn't ever happen because Lake State is trash. However,
I get it.
So all that to say, like context, but I get the conflict a little bit though.
No,
like,
it's still,
this is hard.
It's one of those things where it's like, I want Rutgers to be competitive because I want them to earn a little bit of respect in the Big Ten, but I never want them to win. So like a couple of years ago when they almost beat Ohio State and it was in Piscataway, that was fine because they looked like a decent Big Ten team, and that's all I really needed.
So will they look like a decent Big Ten team this Saturday? It is in the SCAT. Do people call it the SCAT?
It's not in Piscataway.
Is it not?
It's in Columbus.
Oh, well, it's still kind of in the SCAT, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. This one's tricky, and you're going to make fun, and this is going to be where my Rutgers fandom shows out, because I do feel like they get disrespected in this area this season.
I think you're right. It is in Columbus. I'm an idiot.
Because I said this a couple of weeks ago, and you laughed at me. Rutgers has the best wide receiver group statistically in the Big Ten.
Please stop with this narrative.
Stats? Are they stats?
Stats are stats?
Stats are stats.
Okay.
Ethan Kaliakmanis, Minnesota.
The name of a real human
Minnesota transfer, Ethan Kaliakmanis, in his second year at Rutgers, leads the Big Ten in passing yards. Their running back, who's a sophomore, Antoine Raymond, has 1,000 yards on the season, is averaging 5 yards per carry, and has 11 touchdowns. Their wide receiver group, KJ Duff, has 923 yards. Ian Strong has 716. And then they have a transfer from North Texas, DT Sheffield. He's got about 530 something.
You could have just Chat GPT generated.
I might have. You'll have to fact check me.
I have no idea if any of these are real people. KJ Duff, I know, is actually pretty good.
Ian Strong's a great receiver as well. They're big.
I'm sure he is.
This offense has weapons.
Him and CJ McSmith also.
Sure. Their offense has legit weapons. So I think from that side of it, it could be interesting because I think they have the receivers to really test some of these corners. The position I'm really looking at is whoever Davison Igbinosun lines up with. Because
you would assume it'd be KJ Duff, right?
KJ Duff's a big dude. This is a guy that I'm looking at.
And we know that Igbinosun's special also, right?
And that's what I'm saying. I think Igbinosun's been fine this year, but
it's been okay.
He's had a tendency, like normal, to grab a little jersey now and then. And when he's going up against some strong receivers like what Rutgers has to offer, I'm really curious to see what these guys do. Where I think that this game really starts to lean in Ohio State's favor is defensively. Rutgers just doesn't really have one. They rank in the last of the Big Ten in almost every statistical category, especially in the ground game. They're last. They give up like almost 200 yards a game on the ground. it ain't going to be fun for them on the defensive side, especially if you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate playing. I think this is another thing, and that's why I said it's going to be similar to the UCLA game plan. You're going to see a lot of James People, Isaiah West, because CJ Donaldson was hurt against UCLA. You're going to see a lot of Bo Jackson. You're going to see a lot of Isaiah West. You're going to see a lot of ground and pound, try and get the lead early. Get this game out of the way. Very conservative kind of game calling from Brian Hartline and Ryan Day, because they're just not going to need to.
Yeah. Well, and also you want to, again, if you've got wide receivers that are a little bit dinged up, you're going to keep guys fresh, because again, you never can overlook an opponent, but you don't need full strength to beat Rutgers.
No. And I think if I'm Ohio State.
And you're right, the biggest place that they're going to test you is going to be on the passing game, because they drop back 50 times a game.
100%. Yeah. Rutgers offensively is well-rounded. They're going to, that's a great running back. That's a great wide receiver trio that they've got.
And it'll be interesting to see how that translates too, because again, everything looks ahead to Michigan. Obviously Rutgers does not, I know the stats sound good because stats are stats, but
stats are stats.
Statistically also, Rutgers does not run the ball particularly well. Like nationally, they're in the bottom half of the FBS in rushing. They don't have a good rush defense. So it's not the Michigan game plan in that sense, but it will be interesting to see what a quarterback with a couple weapons can do against that secondary, because you then add Michigan's run game into it and you kind of get a little bit better picture. Because again, everything on this podcast is about what it means for the Michigan game.
And we're getting pretty close.
So, what's your final score here?
Yeah, I think this is one where the defense gets tested a little bit, but it doesn't break. I still have it being a blowout. I think right now they're 33.5 point favorites.
That's a lot of points.
I don't think it'll be quite, I don't know. It'll be tough. I think Ohio State wins this 42-17.
Wow. We are right there.
Are we really?
Yeah.
That's been pretty common this whole season.
Again, apologies for my voice. Yeah. So I've got Ohio State 41-17 in this one.
Wow.
And again, we'll get to Michigan, Maryland here in a moment, but this actually feels similar to me to Michigan's matchup with Maryland, because Rutgers is going to, again, drop back half 100 times and see what happens.
They're going to have to, yeah.
But they don't do a lot. You nailed it. I don't need to repeat myself to repeat your points. They don't do a ton else very well. So either it works or it doesn't.
Yeah, they're going to have some explosive plays. They're going to have some turnovers.
When they play similar competition, it works. When they, even if they don't win, when they play similar competition, they have passing game success. It works. When they play up, I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Now, if you are Rutgers, you are going to walk in and you are going to play your game plan and say, fine, we're going to put KJ Duff on Igbinosun and we're going to make you stop him. And if that means throwing the ball 55 times, they will. Especially because they will not be able to run on this Ohio State defense. So it'll be interesting. Neither team wants to play rock fight football. Rutgers kind of has to if they want to win this game, but they're not going to. And they are simply not going to outshoot out Ohio State in this one.
No way.
No, maybe, and we'll see if my voice will let me get through these sponsors here. Maybe you feel a little bit like Greg Schiano and Rutgers.
Why?
I think we just gave you a pretty good reason why.
There were so many other teams.
You're trying to build like a champion, but you might not know how to execute it because you're Rutgers. Aaron and the team at Elevated Integrity Construction have a winning pedigree in a team of All-Americans. They are a juggernaut of the industry. They've built a dynasty of championship builders. If you've got a home, church, or business build, go with the folks with integrity in their name at elevatedintegrity.com. Rivalry also proud members of the Varsity Network this year, powered by Learfield. Second year that we've been able to do that. It's awesome. Varsity Network, the must-have app if you call yourself a college football fan. Live broadcasts, on-demand podcasts just like this one. Free to download. Find the Varsity Network in the App Store and be sure to search for the Rivalry Podcast. You have anything to say while I take a drink of water here and try and get through these sponsors?
Absolutely. We also right now, if you would be so kind, with Christmas coming up, you want to get yourself a nice little comfortable shirt, rep your favorite team. We are partners with Homage this season. You can grab some of the comfiest shirts in the world. That's an Homage shirt right there.
It is.
That our good friend Jace has.
They may have lost to the Eagles last night, but I've got a Detroit shirt.
You can also go. I'm repping our new rival shirt this season, so you can go and snag some of those.
We have not talked a ton about those rivalry shirts. Amazing.
The best shirts we've had.
Let's just say, let me put it this way. 2024, we did new shirts. The design was awesome. The t-shirt quality sucked. Okay? It just did. Same design, better design, super comfortable t-shirt. Amazing. So if you're like, I bought one last year, so it doesn't work if I do that voice when I don't have a voice.
It sounds like you're doing it this whole time. And maybe you are.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Get yourself that shirt. Rivalpod.com. We also want to say thanks to the Ohio Sinus Institute. I guess maybe if you're getting stuffed up like Ohio State's run game in 2024.
If you're allergic to hanging onto the ball like Michigan was this past weekend.
We could do this all day, folks. Actually, my voice can't. The Ohio Sinus Institute, no robots, no rush, relief from the most experienced sinus specialist in Central Ohio, Dr. Boris Kanafilov of the Ohio Sinus Institute. All my years of watching hockey, by the way, helping with that pronunciation there. Surgeon-led personalized care from a professional who listens and explains. Accurate diagnosis on the first visit, 20 years of experience, minimally invasive, in-office treatments, cutting-edge treatments without the cutting, no extra trips, and faster answers. Shout out the Ohio Sinus Institute.
Are you finally ready to talk some Michigan?
After I drink another cup of water, yeah.
That's fine, because while you're doing that and you can't talk back, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about Bryce Underwood, because...
And we're back.
We had some people in our comment section when we specifically harped on Bryce Underwood and graded his season to that point. And we had people...
was divisive.
And we had so many people in there, and honestly, it was kind of half and half. Where people said, "Well, it's too early," or "You're an idiot," or whatever else they wanted to say.
That's most of our comments.
And they misspelled half of it. So who's who? But we're gonna look at one comment we had this past weekend when it was predicting this Northwestern game, and somebody in our comment section said, "Bryce Underwood's gonna show you this weekend just how good he is." And after watching this game, I don't think he did. Now, I want to preface that by saying he did better yardage-wise than I thought. He'd been kind of bad the past couple of weeks, and I want to hear your thoughts because I know we're going to disagree on this.
Yeah.
I don't think that this was a great game.
Okay, well, I think that's stupid.
He had 2 interceptions.
Okay.
And honestly, not that it was completely his fault, but the fumble
was absolutely his fault.
I think it was both. I was going to give it to both.
He did not give it to Kutzall.
Placement should have been significantly better.
So here's the thing. 2 things can be true at the same time. Critical mistakes. The interceptions, critical mistakes. Michigan is very fortunate to have gotten away. Well, I mean, 5 turnovers in this game. 5 turnovers in this game. You don't win football games.
3 of them are on him.
You don't win football games with 5 turnovers. And yet, so that's true. At the same time, I think this was Bryce's best performance of the year. Fully believe that.
That is just psychotic.
Fully believe that.
That is psychotic.
Bryce had let's take because I think here's what happens. You take the first half and you go, wow, that's incredible. You look at the second half and it's not as good, and you focus in on those 2 minutes. Now, those mistakes are crucial. Don't hear me saying that they're not. You can't throw those passes. But if you're going to look at the whole of the game and you're going to say, you know what? Your freshman quarterback is going to look phenomenal. He's going to have to make 2 critical mistakes there.
3.
He's going to make a couple critical mistakes there. I can live with that. I can absolutely live with that. He looked poised. He was accurate. That was his best game. He had the mistakes, but I am not actually going to focus in on that, because as much as that mattered, what mattered more was the way that he stepped up. Because again, he had rough games against Michigan State and Purdue, and he came out, and credit to Chip Lindsey for not moving away from him, for trusting him. He looked out there and he looked confident. He looked sharp. And when push came to shove, he still got the job done. So yeah, I still think that was a phenomenal performance from Bryce. And I can live with the mistakes.
This was a game where I watched him, and I don't disagree that he had a decent day passing, but I don't think you can say
decent day passing.
I don't think you can look at his performance and go, that was the best performance of the year, when he had 3 critical turnovers in that game. And to me, it's the same thing that I've harped on all season with this Michigan team, and specifically his performance. He was not the reason you won that game.
That's just simply not
Jordan
true.
Marshall, again.
That's
it was that running back room, time and time again.
Bryce Underwood could cure cancer, and you would still find a way to deflect from him.
A game where you throw 0 passing touchdowns, you have 3 crucial turnovers, your entire every possession you have in the fourth quarter is a turnover, is not what you want from a starting quarterback.
No, it's
Jordan
not.
Marshall going out there and having 142 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, including the one where he ripped off a massive run to set you up to score later on. To then, I don't remember if that was to go up 21-9. I think it was.
Yeah.
the running back room, time and time again, has been what has saved this Michigan season.
There's no, but it's not one or the other. Their play call is extremely balanced. It's not saying Bryce is not the reason you won that game. I mean, you could probably split hairs and say, yeah, okay, it's the ground game. Bryce threw for 300 yards in this game.
280.
You see, he
also threw three. He threw 2 interceptions and a fumble, and
had a touchdown.
They played a somewhat capable offense.
See, this is the reason why, though, that nobody can say Ohio State. It does not matter what Bryce goes out and does. You will still find a way to criticize it.
He deserves it.
No, he does not. He deserves criticism for the mistakes. He absolutely made critical mistakes. Outside of the mistakes, he was near perfect.
You can't take the mistakes away.
No, you can't. But I'm saying both things can be true at the same time. Yeah, he made some critical mistakes. You can't have that. He played a phenomenal game overall. I can live with that for my freshman quarterback. By the way, we would be remiss to not talk about in the midst of this, Andrew Marsh. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. Andrew Marsh had nearly 200 receiving yards in this game. 12 catches. I mean, he had like 11 targets in the first half. I mean, that freshman to freshman connection there for Michigan, not only is that impressive this year, but like you're going to have that for 2 more years.
Same with Jordan Marshall. Jordan Marshall is an absolute stud.
I mean, Michigan's, and that's again, that's part of why, listen, I'm not going to defend the mistakes, but that's part of why I can live with it. Because when you look at that team, you look at the way how young that Michigan offense is. And we've talked about this in past episodes. And again, if you're just checking in on YouTube, apologies for my voice. This is from my wife and kids. It's not from Semaj Morgan muffing a punt.
So he
probably. But like, you've got 3 starters on the offensive line that are all freshmen. You've got Bryce as a freshman. You've got Marshall as a freshman. You've got Marsh as a freshman. Like, Michigan's in really good shape. You've got a very young team. Sometimes that shows in the mistakes that they make. But you've got a very young team who is still, I mean, you're still staring down, you're still staring down, a potential playoff spot at this point in the year. You're still staring down Big Ten hopes. Michigan's in a really good spot here. But yeah, just an incredible performance from Andrew Marsh. And Bryce, I know clearly we disagree on this, but I mean, even when push came to shove, I mean, the 3rd and 10 pass to Andrew Marsh on the sideline, I have no idea how Marsh got his feet down.
A phenomenal catch by Marsh.
Phenomenal throw, phenomenal catch. And even and I think people forget this one too, there's a 3rd down before Michigan kicks the field goal where Bryce ends up having to tuck it, make a move, and get a first down to kind of basically keep that clock running, make it an easier field goal for Zavada. And he does it. Push come to shove, they get the job done. I'll say this. I felt like overall, this was a game that Michigan dominated. But you can't turn the ball over 5 times. I mean, Michigan had close to 500 yards of offense here. I mean, they doubled up Northwestern.
Yeah,
Northwestern's in this game because you turned the ball over 5 times.
Almost 6 too.
I mean, which is correct. Yeah. They just can't happen.
Insane.
Andrew Marsh. We mentioned Bryce Marsh, clear wide receiver 1. You assumed it was going to be McCulley this year. It's actually fine that it's Marsh, because McCulley is still a threat. Now you've got that extra guy out there. We talked about that before, where it seemed like McCulley was wide receiver 1 and you need somebody else to come alongside him. Mm-hmm. Well, now Marsh is kind of wide receiver 1 and it's McCulley in supporting role. That's a good spot for Michigan to be in. It's a lot about the offense. On the defense, when your offense turns it over 5 times and you win, buy the defense lunch for about a week. Really good performance by the defense. Obviously, Northwestern's offensive struggles, well documented. Preston Stone, not a good quarterback, hit a couple deep passes that you'd like to see Michigan.
Phenomenal catches by the Northwestern dudes.
And there's still some lingering issues for the Michigan defense. One of the catches by Wilde was like a 2nd and 22 inside their own 5. You break that pass up. Northwestern's in trouble there. They had another deep one on that drive. Like, there were some things about the defense that weren't great. Stop jumping off sides would be one of them. And I'd also say the defensive rotation just continues to not make sense to me. God bless Chase Young for being out there. I don't know why he's out there in this situation, but on that critical 3rd down deep ball, he's in the game, apparently. Goes up, gets a hand on, knocks it down, ends up being, a game-saving play because Michigan gets the ball and then ends up going down to score. Mm-hmm. that rotation makes no sense to me. Why in this critical moment is he on the field? And that's not a knock on him. That's me going, there's a point in this game. It was actually the second time Michigan jumped off sides and gave Northwestern a free first down, where they show Wink, and behind Wink on this critical third down is Jace Barham and Derek Moore. And I'm looking at going, should they not be on the field right now? And then Michigan jumped off sides and gave a free first down. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
The way that he uses these guys. Whatever. The defense overall played very well. Very happy with that. The only other thing I want to say about this game is that Michigan special teams is absolutely terrible. I'm not going to fault Zavada on a 60-yard field goal miss.
So honestly, so close.
Like, he clearly has
impressive that it was even.
So, like, while I was frustrated in the moment and being like, he's 0 for 2. Okay. From 60, I'm going to give you a bit of a pass there, because also, what a dangerous weapon to show that, he could make that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and he probably would have been good from 64. The one from inside 40 is a concern, because I don't know, I don't know what curse happened. I don't know what sin is in his life. This is from a ministry. I can say this. I don't know what sin he needs to repent of. But could he do it? It is such a wild drop off from an All-American kicker last year. Should have won the Groza Award last year. When he announced he's coming back, I mean, he's clearly still a dangerous weapon for Michigan, but he's just, I don't know if he's in his head. I don't know if he's got the yips. I don't know what it is, but it's been a consistent problem, which concerns me. I do think that kicking that game-winning field goal, though, sometimes something like that, because it shouldn't have been a difficult kick, but you know that I muted the TV and I'm like 100%. Falling on the ground. My son's next to me doing the same thing. Like, sometimes that's what it takes to actually, the best way to break a losing streak is to win, right? The best way.
Whoa.
I know, big stuff here.
Whoa.
The best way to get out.
Subscribed here for groundbreaking stuff, boy.
The best way to get out of your own head as a kicker is to make a kick. And so I think that's a big deal. I don't know why Semaj Morgan is on this football team. Let's talk about Maryland here. Let me get a little drink of water here. Did you have anything else on the Northwestern game? Sorry. No, the only other thing I'll say here is that Barham and McCulley played. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Rolder played. No Cole Sullivan. Jordan Marshall seems like he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he went down fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, so Sharon, king of coach speak, but sounded, you can tell sometimes when Sharon is coach speaking and sometimes when he's being genuine. Usually he'll say, we'll see, and that's not a good sign. The fact that he said, no, he's fine. He had x-rays. We'll get him an ice bath and a massage. He'll be great. That's a good sign. That's a good sign moving forward here.
Yeah, I think my only stuff with Northwestern that I haven't already talked on, to me, it was decided with the success of the ground game, which we predicted last week. Jordan Marshall, $142, 2 touchdowns. Andrew Marsh had a phenomenal performance. The key thing for me from this Michigan game was that they held Northwestern to 2 of 12 on third down.
Huge.
I mean, that's what kept them in this.
Yeah,
100% was the defense and the ground game. 5 turnovers in almost every other circumstance loses you that ball game.
Well, and that's the thing is, somebody said to me after, like, I don't ever feel like we've deserved to win less. And I said, well, I feel both like we deserved the win and also didn't at the same time. We snatched victory from the jaws of defeat that we snatched from the jaws of victory, sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it was just a weird game. Michigan dominates the game, but you have 5 turnovers. Well, that's how you make it a ball game. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. If they do that against Maryland, we're going to end up
in danger.
Chuckles, I'm in danger.
What I was saying earlier, Northwestern's offense, I mean, it all was around their running game.
Yeah.
And this is a game where it's the same issue on the other side. It's not their ground game for Maryland that's going to hurt you. It's this pass game.
Yeah, Maryland is it's Rutgers-like, right?
How dare you?
Rutgers
beat Maryland by 15.
Good for them. It's like an inter-squad scrimmage. Amazing. Maryland is a pass-heavy team, and they're not going to deviate from it. Malik Washington is the freshman quarterback. We've actually liked a lot of what we've seen from Malik Washington. The problem is that he might not actually be all that good.
Well, it's funny you say that because in our YouTube comments, people have in the Bryce Underwood thing said, "Tell me another all true freshman that's playing better." And I said Malik Washington.
I don't know if he's playing better.
He has more yardage. He has more touchdowns. He has almost the same amount of interceptions now.
Stats are stats, but who would you rather have?
Malik Washington.
That's just not true. But yeah, Malik Washington will drop back about 50 times a game. I went and did the averages. Right there. Averages about 40 pass attempts a game. That's a ton.
Because what else are they going to do?
Well, and that's part of it is that Maryland's got one of the worst rushing offenses in the nation. They ran for, and yeah, it's cherry picked a little bit here, but like in some of these losses, because they've lost 6 in a row, they ran for 55 yards against Washington, 37 against Indiana, 55 against Illinois. If there's one thing Michigan consistently does well, it is run defense, unless you're USC. But one thing Michigan consistently does well, 95% of the time, is they've got a really good run defense. Maryland is not going to be able to run the football on Michigan. It's going to be the Malik Washington show. So either you shut it down. It's like the Rutgers thing, again, with the Kaliak Manis. If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. We're not going and doing anything different here. What's interesting for Maryland is that they throw for a ton of yards, or they throw a ton of attempts. He's got 2,300 yards, but it doesn't always translate into points. Like, this was really weird going through here. I won't read you all the stats, mostly because my voice can't hold up for much longer here. But like, so he attempts 49 passes against Washington, 200 yards, touchdown and a pick on 49 attempts. Okay. Well, what about this one? Okay. Well, we had 46 yards, or excuse me, 46 attempts against Illinois. 1 pick, no touchdowns. Like, it's an interesting phenomenon where I think a bend don't break type of defense, which Michigan can run. It's weird, not can run that type of defense, but you know what I'm saying there. Like, Michigan is fine with a bend don't break philosophy if they need to. They'd prefer to, blitz the heck out of you and shut you down right away. But Michigan can bend don't break. We saw that against Northwestern, put into some tough situations. That'll work against Maryland. Like, Maryland will get their yards. I think Maryland will get their yards. I just don't know that they're going to get points out of it. Michigan's secondary is good, not great. That's probably enough against Maryland. Will it be enough against Ohio State? We'll see. But it's a good, not great secondary for Michigan. And also Michigan's pass rush is probably going to be able to create some disruption. I will say this, though, and I'd like to hear thoughts from you on this. The one really interesting piece of this is, Michigan winklates to pass rush, and we've talked about blitz rate and all that sort of thing. Maryland gives up almost no sacks. They're like second in the country. They give up like 0.3, they've given up 3 sacks this season. So is that a matter of him getting the ball out quick? Is that a matter of what is that?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I have not, because I care about my well-being, I've not watched enough Maryland football to be able to tell you this year why that is. But that is an interesting piece, is that if Michigan struggles to get to him, can they at least create pressure and make him make mistakes?
Yeah.
It seems to me like they should be able to.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said. Maryland, obviously, the passing is their strength. The run game, basically non-existent.
You think they're missing Roman Hemby right now?
I think so. I think it's weird because we just talked about this with Ohio State. It feels like Michigan's going to have the same game plan they did against Northwestern.
They should. If they want to win, they should.
Instead of having to stop the run game, you just got to stop the pass, and you don't really have to worry about the other side of it.
Yeah. Also, don't create 5 turnovers. That's not part of the game
and they would simply love to not do that. I think if you have that scenario happen where you turn the ball over multiple times, that will be a game that you'll lose.
Yeah,
I literally wrote down my last sentence when I was talking through kind of all this, because you hit on everything. I mean, Malik Washington has been a bright spot for them. I just put play clean, run well, and it's an easy dub for the Wolverines. To me, it's simple. You go out there, Jordan Marshall has himself a day. Bryce Underwood makes throws when he has to. Yeah. I don't think he needs to go out there and blow you away or do anything.
I think you will see a healthy dose of Bryson Kutzall in this game, which, by the way, he looked good when he needed to come in there. Yeah. I like the way he runs. And we said this back during the spring game episode back in April. I went up to the spring game and walked away and said, that kid is the spring game winner, right? Guy down on the depth chart. You're not really sure how much play time you'll get. Yeah. This is a chance to prove yourself. He was the winner from that spring game. And he's showing why. He's not Justice Haynes. He's not Jordan Marshall, nor should you expect him to be. I mean, with Micah Kapana out, he's probably officially third on the depth chart, probably more like fourth with a fully healthy roster. He's playing really well. There's not every Big Ten team, but there's a number of Big Ten teams that would like him to be a starter right now. Maryland would be one of them. I don't think this Maryland defense does anything terribly well. They're not horrible. They're not great against. If they're horrible in any area, it's rush defense.
Yeah, which is Michigan's bright spot. So,
but the defense just doesn't do a lot well. And I wrote down basically what you said. There's no need to deviate what you rolled out against Northwestern. You were dominant. You can't turn the ball over like that. What's
your prediction?
I think this team is somewhere between Purdue and Northwestern for me. Like, just as far as how good this team is. They're not bottom barrel Big Ten, but they're like average at best. I'd say this is an average. Now, we saw Northwestern in that game, and we predicted, I think I predicted like 24-13. It was 21-9 in the fourth quarter. I thought, this is trending the way I thought. And then 3 minutes of heck later,
and then back-to-back possessions where you turned it over.
This will probably be, it's probably a tighter game. People are going to want Michigan to win by 3 touchdowns. That's not going to happen. I think Michigan's shown that that's probably not going to happen. This will probably be a tight game. I don't think it'll be as tight as Northwestern was. It will be probably that, hey, this game is annoying line. I don't think it's ever going to be in danger unless we commit 5 turnovers again. The spread is 13.5. Michigan won't blow anybody out, but I do think they cover. Not unlike the Northwestern game, I'm going to predict Michigan 27, and I'm going to give Maryland 13.
We're weirdly close.
Oh,
we are weirdly close.
Given the game that Michigan's going to want to run, that feels fair. And so again, this is why I didn't freak out when it was 7-6 at the half for Michigan Northwestern. I freaked out when it was 22-21.
Oh yeah,
but like I didn't freak out when it was like it's only 14-6 or whatever. Like because that's what I thought would happen. I'm not going to freak out if this game is 17-6 at the half or whatever. Yeah, probably 10-6 at the half. Most likely, it'll probably be 10-6 at the half. 27-13 Michigan.
I am pretty close to what your prediction is for about the same reason. I think this game has potential to be one of those weird nail biters at the end where then a Jordan Marshall rips off a long touchdown run that kind of seals it. I have Michigan 27, Maryland 17. I think Malik Washington gets one or two. They show some explosiveness a little bit, but I think this is a game, like you said, I don't have it as like a 10-6, although it could. I have it late in the game being like a 24-17, something like that. I could even see this being a 24-17 and it's late, like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, maybe 8 minutes left, and then Michigan hands it to Jordan Marshall and he rips off a 60-yarder to make it 31-17, and that does it. Like it feels very much like that.
John Bacon, which if you don't follow him, he's absolutely phenomenal. But John Bacon will usually during a game talk about whether or not you can start your lawnmowers. As far as, hey, this game is over, go ahead and start doing some yard work now.
Yeah.
This will not be, keep the lawnmowers in the shed for this one, but maybe keep them ready. That's kind of the feeling of this game here, I think. Let's go ahead and do college football pick'em. Reminder that Stupid Genius could pop up at any point. Shout out to the Ohio Science Institute for sponsoring Stupid Genius. That's what they chose to sponsor, and I'm sorry about that because we are terrible at picking upsets. As a reminder...
I got mine right last week.
Did you?
I did. Oh, I picked Virginia over Duke.
How many points did you get for that?
6.5. So I'm at 30 to your 6 now.
30 to 6.5. So again, the rule is 5.5 point spread. Make the pick, whatever the spread is at the time of recording. You get the points right. You get the pick right. You get that many points. It is 30 to 6.5. So not great.
With 2 weeks to go.
All right. So that could pop up at any point. Not a ton of great football games this weekend, but it's college football and we're in late November.
Mm-hmm.
So every college football game is a great college football game at this point. Mizzou at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
what they did against Alabama. Impressive. By the way, if you're a Michigan fan, not good. As much as like my son asked me, he's like, oh, we're definitely cheering for Oklahoma because he knows we hate Alabama. And I said, yeah, but also we kind of need Alabama to win this game because again, if Michigan obviously predicated on them handling their business, but if Michigan's going to try and make a playoff push here, even beating Ohio State is not a guarantee because you've got Oklahoma and USC sitting in there. You need one of those teams to drop another game. I also take Oklahoma in this one, but I would really enjoy if Mizzou could beat them.
They just won't.
Speaking of USC, how about USC at Oregon? This is this is the game of the week. Massive implications for the Big Ten title, by the way.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting. I took Oregon. Right now, they've got the number one pass defense. I think they're going to have their hands full with that USC offense.
Yeah.
But I think their defense is leaps and bounds better than what USC is going to put out. And I think that Oregon's got some really good weapons on offense as well. Dante Moore, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and it's a home game for him.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a huge role. I like USC. They're a fun team to watch. They're not a serious contender for the Big Ten yet. Oregon is.
Here's how I'm going to play this. I'm going to take USC.
Wrong.
I'm going to take it as my stupid genius.
The extra wrong choice.
They're plus 9.5. So here's why. Twofold reasons. Number one, I'm down 30-6.
I was going to say.
So I got to take a big one. Number two, I never get these right. And it benefits Michigan for Oregon to win this game. So I'll take USC just to kind of jinx them a little bit. If you're Michigan and you're trying to make a Big Ten championship, which low-key you probably actually don't want to make. You probably want to beat Ohio State and let somebody else go play Indiana because you probably are safe, depending on how other things shake out. But if you're trying to go to the Big Ten championship, Oregon and USC are both ahead of you. USC plays Oregon and then UCLA. They are not getting beat by UCLA. You better have Oregon win this game because Oregon still has to go play Washington, and Washington has had their number. So if you're a Michigan fan, root for Oregon. I'm going to take USC. How about currently number 22, soon to be unranked Pitt at Georgia Tech, who for some reason still finds ways to win this football game?
This is actually what I think is going to be the best game of the weekend.
Massive implications to that terrible ACC conference.
100%. Georgia Tech has one of the best offenses in college football. Pitt has a relatively good defense. This feels like a game, and it sounds so weird to say, and I don't even know if I fully believe what I'm about to say.
That's fair. Welcome to the podcast.
This feels like the game where Haynes King could really put himself in the Heisman conversation.
You don't believe that.
I don't think he'll still get it because to me, like we said last week,
Say Mendoza, maybe Dante Moore.
Yeah, Simpson's out now. I don't even think Dante Moore is in there. I think the loss to Oklahoma took Simpson out of it. So to me, it is Mendoza or Sayin. And I thought maybe you could have somewhat made a case for Haynes King because the dude right now is having a stellar performance. 2,200 yards, throwing almost at 1,000 yards on the ground, 14 touchdowns, rushing. I mean, he is their guy.
Yeah.
This is a Georgia Tech team that only has one loss on the season. This feels like a game because Pitt, I know they're going to end up being unranked, was just ranked, has been a relatively decent team all season. Yeah. A stellar performance where Georgia Tech comes out a winner. If he performs very well in that game, very well could see him being in New York.
Against my better judgment, I'm taking Pitt. I realize what they did against Notre Dame was not good. Let me tangent for a half second here. No, we might need to apologize to Notre Dame.
I will never. Over my dead body.
We buried them after 2 losses, said that they had no business being in the college football playoff discussion. As much as I want to kick against it, Notre Dame looks really good. Notre Dame looks really good right now. So I'm not going to hold that too much against Pitt. I still think they're a good football team. They're not great, but they're good. Nobody in the ACC is great, okay?
Honestly, in all of college football, it basically goes, you've got like your top 3, and then there's a lot of other teams that play Saturdays.
If I'm Georgia Tech, I am nervous that I'm looking ahead to that big, bad matchup with Georgia. I feel like they may be looking ahead here. I'm going to take Pitt. as a sneaky upset pick here. And then finally, BYU and Cincinnati. This game, again, in one sense is like, because Cincinnati lost. But also, this has major Big 12 implications. BYU just one loss on the year. And that loss being to Texas Tech, that's a pretty good loss.
Yeah.
It's
if you can afford one, that's a good one.
You know, it's kind of like looking back now where I go, hey, Michigan got beat on the road at Oklahoma. I go, yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. BYU got beat against Texas Tech. Yeah, probably. On the road. Yeah, almost certainly. BYU or Cincinnati here. Cincinnati, a fascinating story. I feel like they're a feel-good team, but I don't feel good picking them, so I'm going to take BYU.
Same, and that's the wise choice. I was trying to look at just who they've all played this season, and I remember a couple of weeks ago, I actually took Cincinnati when we were going over a pick 'em because they played Utah, and they just got destroyed. It just wasn't even close. BYU beat that same Utah team, and so I am going with BYU in this one.
And you know BYU, BYU wants that rematch with Texas Tech. I don't know if they'd win it.
No, they won't.
But you know they want that. And by the way, if BYU drops this game, Cincinnati's out of the playoff picture unless they win the Big 12.
Even then.
BYU losing this game, they will be probably out of the Big 12 playoff picture. Maybe I'd have to check again, but they're almost certainly out of the playoff unless they win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think BYU gets this done here. Who is your stupid genius upset pick of the week?
Yeah, because we've already found out yours, and it was stupid. I wrote down two.
It's intentional. It's intentional stupidity.
The goal is to win.
Welcome to the Rivalry Podcast. Intentional stupidity.
The goal is to win, which I will. I'm going to take a Big Ten matchup. Both of my choices that I was kind of deciding between are Big Ten matchups.
Okay.
The one I'm not choosing, but I debated, was Nebraska over Penn State. That's 9.5 point favorites. The one that I actually feel really good
Without
about.
doing Rayola, I don't know that they can do it.
Rayola, I'd have felt more confident.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota over Northwestern, exactly at the 5.5 point mark. Drake Lindsey, I still really think is a talented player. Northwestern, I think, showed themselves as a tough squad this past weekend.
Yeah. They are. We said last week they are a firmly middle of the road Big Ten team,
and that's both of these.
Correct. Yeah, neither of these are good teams.
No,
but they're not bad teams. These are firmly average teams.
And I think when I'm picking the quarterback between Stone and then Drake Lindsey, I'm going to go Drake Lindsey.
That's going to make the angry Minnesota fans that we've had for some reason in
the one comments. That said at the end of the season, I would be looking back and saying that they were a quality win, sir.
I mean, they're one of your best wins.
No.
I mean that it is a slight in every possible way. That's good. Yeah. So again, not great slate of football games, but there's college football. It's late November. I scraped my windshield off with a Dunkin' Donuts gift card this morning. It is getting cold.
That's how you know you're in the Midwest.
I don't even I know you're running on Dunkin'.
How dare you?
It is what it is. By the way, if you don't drink coffee or tea, you need something to warm the soul. I went through my little playoff projection for Tuesday night. Alabama's nowhere to be found in that.
And they shouldn't be.
Just makes you feel good.
Follow
on social media at Rival Pod. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening right now and enjoy some college football this weekend.